It's a clown show in the NFL. And we're going to break it down right now on the Wayne Breezie Show. Stick around.
We so bright that we shining. All we know is the Niners. Red and gold at its finest. We so faithful to the bay. We so bright that we shining. All we know is the Niners. Red and gold at its finest. We so faithful to the bay. Yeah.
What's going on, everybody? The Wayne Breezie Show is here. I know y'all thought it was coming on at 1 p.m., but nah, we're here in exclusive time. I got the one and only Crystal Peachy B in the building. What's going on, Peachy?
Oh, what's going on, man?
A lot.
We cannot get a break. Like as 49er fans, like we can never have everything just go right. Like other teams can just do that, and we just can never do that.
Exactly. And that alludes to my frustration because pretty much the 49ers have made it clear like that Brock Purdy is the guy, right? And still people, the national media, the 49er media, they still find a way to throw shade. And I'm all for constructive criticism. I think that's what the world needs. That's how you get better. But at some point, there's times where people just cross the line. You know how in our chat, shout out to everybody in the community, like we tell people you can say what you want, but just don't be disrespectful.
Right.
I'm getting a bunch of disrespect, like in a different manner. And it's just frustrating. It's just frustrating. So we're going to talk about that on tonight's episode. We're not going to be before you long. I'm sure there's a bunch of stuff streaming right now. We usually don't go live around this time, but it's good to have Peachy here actually on the show and not doing the managerial moderating stuff behind the show. Brick by Brick is still currently on, so if you're watching Brick by Brick, cool. We'll talk a little bit about it, but it's still currently on, so we're not going to stick on it. But those that are here, thank y'all so much for being here. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and you could join the channel as well by clicking on that join button. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up. That's the like button. You know what likes do to the stream, to the channel. They help boost it up in the YouTube's algorithm that they change every 3 hours or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Don't forget to subscribe. That's what it seems like. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast, the Wayne Breezie Show. It's on Apple Podcasts. It's on Spotify as well. All right. You can follow on X at the Wayne Breezie, as well as Instagram, Threads, TikTok, Facebook. You know what I'm saying? It's everywhere. All right. You can follow. And if you like that intro that you heard, shout out to Lake City Fresh, Travis King. Go ahead to Apple Music or iTunes Store or wherever you got store, platform, online platform to buy music, and you could actually purchase the single. All you got to do is type in FTTB without any asterisks or anything like that. It's you used to see a gold and black cover pop up. That's the song. Make sure you guys go ahead and cop it. Peachy, I don't even want to talk about our day. I want to talk about what's going on. You made us aware of this early this morning, and it kind of laid dormant. And I want to give you some props because I would say last night actually is when you brought this to my attention, and I just let it chill. I let it ride. I was so overwhelmed by the Trey Lance talk. I just needed a break. So I took today pretty much off. And then all of a sudden, we'll talk about Raheem Mostert. He makes this comment about the situation. And now it's getting blown up, you know what I'm saying? And it took a former player to do so. So I want to know from you, like when you first saw the video, like what were your initial thoughts? And we're going to watch the video for those that didn't get a chance to hear what he said and how he said it. I think that's important.
So my initial thought was, besides just wishing that I could just reach through my phone and put my hands on somebody. That was literally the first thing I had. And for all of you that don't know, like I'm like Breezy's social media manager. So when I see something that is important that he needs to know, then I'll send it to him so that he can be abreast of. He doesn't spend a lot of time on social media because he has all these other thousand things that he has to do. So I try to do that. And I just could not resist doing that, knowing that he was already, like over this and needed a breather. You know what I'm saying? That kind of stuff. But I felt like it's something that he needed to know. This morning I went at Lombardi again, besides last night. And there were, some people that were saying some horrible things. And yeah, you guys in the chat actually, yeah, that's kind of how I
keep
am.
with your point. Yeah, just keep going with your point.
It's no. What I was gonna say is that that's what it is. It's just a buildup. It's just a buildup from hearing one person after another person in national media just say all these, awful things. But then, Michael Lombardi took it over the top because he made it personal and he made it disrespectful. And you shouldn't do that. Like Breezy was saying, there's a difference with criticism. Like you can criticize someone, but you don't have to make it personal. And he made it personal and it got to me a whole lot.
What was it that got to you? I'm curious to know because you know what I'm saying? Like what was it that struck that nerve or struck that chord?
What struck that chord is whenever he brought his mother into it, his mama into it, like he said.
Yeah.
When he brought his mama into it. Also, one thing about that, not just the fact that he said mama, but it's the way that he said mama.
That's why I said we're gonna listen to it.
Also struck a bad chord, but yeah.
No, that's why, and that's why I prefaced the fact, Peachy, that we're gonna listen to it so we can hear and really hear. Like, you know what I'm saying? I feel like there's certain ways people inflict certain words and the way it's just we'll listen to it, right? We'll listen to it for sure. When I first heard it last night while I was on the show, the Nothing But Niners show, and I listened to it and I was just like. I was empty. Literally
right.
empty. Because I can't, it's like, again, my theory is it's fine to constructively criticize a player. It's fine to say that they're trash or that they suck. That's not disrespectful. That's not disrespectful. That's just the way you feel. We do it all the time. We probably don't even know that we do that. That's fine. It's when you take it to the extreme and you kind of make it personal, like you said. So when I listened to it, I was just like, yo, somebody got to get this guy. Like he needs to be corrected. I don't know if what he said was how he meant it or what, but he just crossed that line that you can't come back from because you never know if that person's mom or what they're going through and things like that. And you can really, and it sucks because if Trey Lance comes out of character and claps back, then all of a sudden Trey Lance is the bad guy. He didn't do anything wrong.
Exactly. Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, that's the bullshit that we talking about. Like, the national media. And so this is my issue with our media. This is my issue with 49er media. Like, at what point do you defend your guy? Like, that's all I kept saying. All right, we want to talk about how bad he plays. That's cool. That's one thing. But now when cats are attacking him, when do we say, this is our guy? We got to defend this kid.
Exactly.
Like, he's a 40 freaking Niner. Last time I checked, he went number 5, and he signed on a rookie deal. He was... When do we defend the kid? So you and I, we're gonna defend him. I don't give a fuck what anybody else does. He's gonna be defended. Now, as far as his play, if he doesn't improve, he will continue to be constructively criticized by us.
Right. And guys, one thing that is important that you have to know is at the end of the day, these guys play football and they do that and whatever, but they're still human beings. They're still people. And there was a lot of that, well, he just needs to brush it up. No, he doesn't. Because how would anyone want anybody to be addressing your mama like that? Nobody would want that. No one in the world would want that. Everybody that I asked, including my son, I asked him just like 2 hours ago. I said, if you heard that, you know what I'm saying? He said, oh, it would just be all hands and that would be it. He said, I don't care what I was doing. It don't matter. He said, you don't bring up people's mama like that.
Ever.
That's personal. And it's not just that, like I said, it's the way that he said it that really aggravated me, because there's a way that you can say mama, and there's a way that you can say mother, and there's a way that you can say mama. The way he said it.
First of all, if we keep it in a buck, black people say mama,
exactly,
and white people say mother.
Yes, exactly.
And I'm not making it a race thing. It's just our cultures.
Right. He would never have said that about. I promise you, he would never have even had the gall to say that in another way. And that's why it touched me so bad. And that's why I just wanted to reach out and put my hands on somebody, because I'm like, you are pitiful. One, you're worthless because you sucked as a GM whenever you were a GM anyway.
Hands down.
Somebody had put on social media that
was it my man Ryan?
I think it was who put on there something like how would you like it if somebody said that your mama should have set you down and, you know, like critiqued your GM skills or told you that you don't have the qualities to be a GM, and how that because he seriously didn't, considering that Cleveland went like 3 and something whenever he was there. So he doesn't even need to be in a place where he's evaluating any football talent. And if I'm not mistaken, it just dawned on me, if I'm not mistaken, and anybody in the chat knows, I think he did the same thing to Lamar Jackson, if I'm not mistaken. I think he was one of those, if I'm not mistaken, that did that.
Did he use certain colloquialisms and talk? That's my issue. Like
I can't remember.
Listen. I wasn't trying to be.
Oh, whoa, hang on, Breezy.
I did he? Jay, is this true? We're gonna look it up. So Peachy's gonna look that up.
I sure am.
I didn't know that he was in.
Are you serious?
Was it the Los Angeles Raiders at the time or the Oakland Raiders at the time? I didn't know
pulling it up
he was
right
a part
now.
of that. So, but so maybe he's still butthurt over that bust. Like you know what I mean? Like, and so like here's the thing. I don't mind if anyone evaluates the players. It's a free world. You can evaluate a player. Again, you can give your takes on players. You can constructively criticize them. You can say that they are suck, right? And you're in your own private whatever. On air, you know, you got to say it a little different. Like, and I hear people saying, "Hey, man, what about what's up, Wayne Jr.? We related."
Right there.
So
That's who it was. It was Cam Newton. I'm sorry.
Was it Cam Newton?
I had the wrong quarterback.
Who did you say? Oh, Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
I'm curious to know if there's something about him and African American quarterbacks that he has. Because all right, you know what? Can we stop talking for 1 second and we'll just listen to the video? Sure. Let's just listen to the clip. I got the whole joint. We'll go through it. We'll break it down. Here we go. I think this is it. That doesn't look like it. No, that's
As you go down this road with Lance, it just becomes harder and harder and harder. And you could show all the clips of him moving and all that stuff. At the end of the day, when his mama lifted him from the crib, he just didn't have that quarterback instinct. He is not going to be the backup quarterback. I don't know what they're going to do with him, but there's no chance. There is no chance based on the evidence that I've seen and based on what I've heard.
Michael, I asked you this before we ended the Lombardi line yesterday on VSiN. I think that he might be competing to stay on the 53-man roster. Like, is that where we at with Trey Lance right now? Like, are these reps looking for him to be able to say, can he stay on this roster and be a viable 49er?
Well, I think you got to look at this, right? Like, you know that once you reach a conclusion on a player, okay, once you really have a handle on who the player is, then you've got to make some decisions.
Who's the other clown because the other guy is
Right.
more of a clown than Michael Lombardi. Because the moment he said the mama take, I would have stopped him in the mid tracks. And that was an edited piece of the whole thing because you saw the cut screen. So he was continuing to go on about that. So I'm curious to know who the other clown was. You know what I mean? Like,
Right. And right
that's why
here. This right here.
Yo,
Yep.
twin. That's my point.
yes,
like
exactly, twin.
if I see him, it's on site. Like literally. Like
Right.
that's what do you call them clowns? Uncle Tom clown? I don't know what you want to call them. Like bump my job. I felt like Michael Lombardi stab at Trey Lance when it came to his own mama. Blah blah blah. And picked him up. Blah blah. Nah, you can't say that. You can't say that. You can't even mention the word mom. All right, so we got some questions in here. Fluffy Ninja says, well, what did he say negative about his mom? He didn't say anything negative about his mom personally, but he tied Trey Lance's mom saying that, hey, you was never going to be a quarterback. Like, you can't say that. You don't know what his mother said when he picked him up. Like, who does that? Would you come out your mouth, Fluffy Ninja, and say that to anybody? That even if you don't know them, you don't go to the mama word.
And that's
like,
it right there. Eddie G. No,
keep
right
my
there.
mama's name out your effing mouth. Eddie, you are always on point.
Yep.
And I think that to me is the issue, right? It's not that he even said, it's not that the connotation of what he said was negative. It's the fact that he took it, he crossed a line that I just felt like he shouldn't have crossed. I could be wrong. I could be overreacting, right? I could be. But I just feel like you don't talk about people's family. They have nothing to do with the way they perform on the football field. Does that make sense? What does Trey Lance's mother have to do with him performing on the football field?
Nothing. And you shouldn't have ever even brought his mama into this. It's nothing to do with his mama. You just do not do it. You do not do it. And it is absolutely ridiculous. This has nothing to do with the criticism of his play and everything like that. I mean, that's, whatever you think is fine. But once you bring the mama into it, then you have crossed the line that you cannot come back from. And he just took it way too far. Right, carry on. Like, he just took it way too far. Like, regardless, just like Breezie said, you can leave mama out of it. That's all you have to do is just leave mama out of it.
Right. He could have said when he was born, he wasn't deemed to be a quarterback. Now you take mama out of it, and anybody could have said anything. You leave it open to interpretation. There's so many ways. You get what I'm saying? I never said it was disrespectful to his mom. It's disrespectful to Trey Lance for even bringing up his mom. This is disrespect to Trey just because he isn't what everybody wants him to be. If Trey Lance was...
There we go, right here. That's what you said.
He won't say it to his... I think Spider 1000 trying to be funny. I bet you he won't say it to his face.
No, he won't. Mm-mm.
I guarantee it. I can guarantee it. Hey, look, the disrespect has to stop, PG. Like that at the end of the day, the disrespect has to stop. So Marcus Spears and Darren Orlovsky, like everybody, Michael Robinson, Steve Mariucci, they're all coming out and they're all
Shady
giving
McCoy.
their Shady McCoy. Oh, that was the latest one. Shady McCoy. He doesn't belong in the NFL and things like that and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? And I just feel I wish that's what I would be. That's what I would say too. I wish a mother sucker would, because I can't beat Samuel L. Jackson. You know what I mean? But no, that I just feel like I'm okay with their takes, right? Those are takes. That's from what they seen, but they never said that his mama, when she picked him up as a baby, said to him, "You're never going to be a quarterback." That they didn't cross a line. I just feel like Michael Lombardi was out of pocket, crossed the line. If you're saying that I'm sensitive, I'm old school. So the moment unless you saying my mama was nice or is a beautiful lady, I'm gonna even check that. But if you say anything negative about my mom, it's gonna strike a chord. Like, you understand what I'm saying? And I I can tell he doesn't know Trey Lance, because if he knew Trey Lance, he would have never said mama.
Telling you.
So
Yeah.
maybe I'm being oversensitive or and overreacting to
And
this.
to answer the question, yes, Mike Lombardi was responsible for Jamarcus Russell.
So that's interesting. I think he's flashbacks of drafting a quarterback. Here's the thing about Jamarcus Russell. He had all the physical attributes as well. He just didn't want to play football. Like, you can tell. It's not even that he wasn't good or whatever. He didn't want to play football. Like, he said it. He didn't want to play football. But at the end of the day, Trey Lance wants to play football. He's struggling right now, trying to be this quick read, quick 3-step drop quarterback. That's what he's struggling at. Though that's his weakness, right? We watched the film over and over again from the first preseason game. That's his weakness. He drops back 3 steps, he looks at the first read, and he doesn't pull the trigger. That's his weakness. I think that gets better the more he plays, but that's just what I think. But that's where it should stop. Like, we're giving our feedback on what we saw. But when you cross the line and you make it a more, you attack a player in their personal life outside of football, which is the mom. That's the personal portion. I think, well, so Ian, maybe you must be just joining in, because this is exactly how we felt when he said mama.
Yep.
Like.
And I'm just going to keep it like 100 right now. I get that Trey Lance's mother is Caucasian. That is not how Michael Lombardi was looking at this whenever he was saying that. I guarantee you that's not. You know why? Because you have to pay attention to the inflection of the way that he said it. He knew exactly what he was saying. He knew what was going to happen behind it. And that is what he was trying to do. So I'm just saying, I get that. But I'm just letting you know, it is absolutely ridiculous.
Here's the thing that I liked, because this did stem or lead to something that ended that had like a positive connotation to it, right? So former 49ers player Raheem Mostert got a hold of this, got wind of what was going on, and on Instagram he wrote on the Sports Illustrated, because they put this up on their page. He commented and say, "Hey man, y'all need to stop disrespecting him like this. This is crossing the damn line. Everyone has something to say but can't back their own BS up." And I want to talk about this because Raheem Mostert, former 49er, he went through some shit with the faithful.
Oh, yeah, death threats and everything, yeah.
To his wife, right?
Yep.
It just reminded me like how serious or how inconsiderate even the faithful can be. That's why I'm charging us, right? I'm charging us to get back together as a fan base. There's only one team. It's called the San Francisco 49ers. We shouldn't let anybody outside of us attack any of our players.
Exactly. And that's another thing I was thinking about. Like, I don't understand, like, why do you have like a former teammate, someone that's came out that has addressed this, and the like inside of the 49ers, like, they're not yet. Now that don't mean they won't, because I have a feeling that some of them will when they get wind of this. They've also been, pretty busy doing different things or whatever, and I understand all that. But my thing is that it was very unprofessional. Okay, if you want to just take it across the board, it was very unprofessional. It was disrespectful. He could have made his point without doing that. He knew what he was doing. You have morons like this that like to, be cute and try to be, like quotey and do all this stuff like that, just for attention. That's the only reason why he did that. Only reason why he did that is because he has to be quirky and he has to do this and he has to do that. And it really just got under my skin. It's not about Trey being sensitive. It's not about none of that. Because one, Trey hasn't said a word about this yet.
No.
Not a solitary word about this yet. But it affected me because it's just one of those things you just don't do. You just do not bring up your mother in like a player's mother when you're talking about something. You just don't do that. You just do not do that.
Yeah, it's interesting because the did he cross the line like that if this happened, and I know we're adults, but if this happened, before we started learning how to peacefully handle certain situations, if this happened in grade school or middle school, that's when you kind of really start feeling yourself, or in high school, oh my gosh, you might go to jail. If this happened like then, it would have been on site. Probably before he got the word mother, mama, big mom, whatever, before it even came out. You know what I'm saying? This is how I know it's crossing the line. Unless you're in a mindset and it's jokingly and you playing yo mama jokes, even which I still think get out of hand. That's why I don't ever get into that, because if at some point it's gonna strike a chord. But even those yo mama jokes get out of hand and cross the line.
Oh, I haven't been involved in it, but I've been on the outside, like watching yo mama jokes take a bad turn, to take it like too far, and
that's what I'm saying,
and all kind of crazy stuff like that.
What I'm saying.
Yeah, but look, my whole thing is behind this is that to me it was unprofessional. To me it was disrespectful, and I called out Lombardi because that was ridiculous. He wouldn't like it if it was flipped on him about his GM skills, just like I said. And I'm just letting you know that, in my opinion, he doesn't even know how to evaluate a quarterback in the first place, especially if he chose Jamarcus Russell. Like, he has no idea like what he's doing. So only thing that I have to say about that is that I took offense to it. Everyone is individual. If you didn't take offense to it, so be it. But I took offense to it, and the way that Kyle, went about it a little bit, I don't know if I don't think that he liked it too much either. So, regardless of whether he didn't address it or not,
do you think Kyle Shanahan? I know the players are on social media. Mm-hmm. Do you think Kyle Shanahan is hearing this stuff as well? Because he was asked a question today. We're gonna listen to that as well. So, yeah. You think he hears it? Why doesn't he do anything to call out? Mm-hmm. I don't know, man. Look, if you my player and I'm super protective, overprotective, right?
Yeah.
If you call out somebody that I'm a part of, that's a part of me or whatever, mm-hmm. like, I'm gonna defend that person. I don't care what my profession is. I'm gonna say something.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm smart. I'm such a smart ass. I'm not even gonna call that person's name, or maybe I would, because I'm petty like that. But at the end of the day, it's like that to me, like, is what Kyle should have said, because the beat writers heard about this. That's why they asked him the question. I'm not sure who asked him the question. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was I know who it was. It was Hammer. Jack Hammer.
Yeah, was that Jack? All right.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and listen to what Kyle Shanahan said when they asked him about Trey Lance dealing with the media.
Coach, there's been a lot of negativity around Trey Lance in the national media recently. Yesterday, there was somebody coming out saying that Trey doesn't have the quarterback instinct. What do you have to say about that kind of comment?
It just goes with the territory. I mean, it goes with it for quarterbacks. It goes with it for anybody who's a high draft pick, but especially a quarterback. You watch, and that's one of the tough things, I think, for that position, but also for high draft picks. I mean, you watch receivers come in the league and they have a few drops early in camp, and there becomes a lot of pressure on them. People want to see those people take off and do it right away and have no flaws, and that's just part of it.
Is there anything you've had to address with him, or is he pretty good as far as the mindset, knowing what comes with the territory?
Trey is extremely smart, very socially aware. He knows how the world works, and so he does his best, which I think he does a damn good job of trying to block that out and just focus on getting better, and I think that's what he's done so far.
So he pretty much, what I got was Trey Lance is mature as hold on.
Right. Exactly.
There we go. Right? He's just a mature human being.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So like that's kind of like what I got from Kyle Shanahan saying, yo, he's dealing with the fire, he's handling it like a real guy, a real gentleman would handle their business. You know what I'm saying?
But that lets me know, just from the way that Kyle looked, that he had heard it, because of the way that he brought it up. Kyle's not like, that's new, or, I'm busy doing this and blah, 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 and all this stuff. And I didn't hear. No, it really, like, the look on his face looked like that he had heard it.
That's a good point. Like I didn't pick that up, but I'm glad that you did. I felt like they didn't. I felt like Jack could have, if Jack heard this, that was kind of a bitch ass question. Like, don't talk about the play like that. Trey don't care about the negative stuff about the play. Like he's gonna get criticized for that. I felt like that could have been more specific to the national media, talking about like whatever, like outside of his play. He's gonna get criticized whether he does well or whether he doesn't, right? Yeah. But what about this? What about this?
Yeah.
This has nothing to do with him playing. It just struck a chord. It just struck a chord. Miss Debbie, you gosh darn right. You right. Ain't nobody gonna mess with you on my watch.
Me too, Sean. You know that. I go back for Deb all the time. But
that's how I feel. Like you, if you in my circle, if I know you,
right, exactly.
That's just who I am. I was always told to protect my community. I'm not Batman, but that's how I think.
And I'm a bulldog, so don't let the look fool you. I can get ugly.
Facts. Jax gave a super chat, and I want to get to it.
Okay.
Because she was talking about, like, if you guys didn't watch the Nothing But Niners show, please go ahead and watch it. It's not on my channel. It's on Nothing But Niners, so make sure you subscribe to their channel as well. But it was a 3.5 hour. It was a tough show, right? Because as we were going through Trey Lance's play, I just felt like there was a lot of personal inflections that were taken up, even for me, because like I'm just like, how much are we gonna like really beat this kid down to the ground for something that he might just can't do yet, right? Like it's like trying to make a kid walk and they just can't. Right. But you're forcing them to walk, and I'm like, yo, he know that he has to walk. He knows that walking is a part of the vocabulary, but actually doing it is going to take some practice. It's going to take some reps. So like, how bad are we going to beat this kid into the ground saying that he sucks, that he can't make this throw, that he can't do this, opposed to looking at his positives. So he knows the negatives he's got to work on, right? And we all broke it down. He just doesn't, that first read, if it ain't there, it's going to be hesitant, and he's going to go to his second or third option. And if he doesn't have the time, he's going to protect the ball and take the sack. That is Trey Lance at this stage in his career. Accept it. Can he get better? Duh. The question is, will he get the reps to get better? That's about his play, and I'm all cool about that. But it got personal. It got heat. It was just crazy last night. Great show, though.
Yeah.
Great show for sure. But she says, Peachy and me and you was going in on the chat last night. It's awful and hurtful to see things like this. Trey got all of us to speak up for him. They got me, you, and Peachy to speak up for him. I don't think anybody else cares about Trey Lance as much as we do. And this is, remember last night I said there's a reason why I'm really connected to this kid, and it's because he's the adverse underdog, right? He has to go through adversity no matter where it is. He got a scholarship to the University of Minnesota to play linebacker, for those that don't know his backing story. And then all of a sudden, he just doesn't want to play line. He wants to be a quarterback. He
Right.
wants to play quarterback. They're like, nah. Then he's like, cool, I'm not going to go there. People were trying to figure out like why he went to North Dakota State. Because North Dakota State said, you want to play quarterback? All right, sit here, and then you're going to, and then when it's your time, you'll get in and you'll play quarterback. And
Right.
they let him. They let him play quarterback. And what he did was ridiculous. It might have been against less competition. It might have he just flashed and had traits that he can do some things if he gets the proper tutelage and develops as an NFL quarterback. That's a whole different story. But on that BCS level, or FCS, excuse me, level of college, he dominated. And then he got to the NFL, and then he didn't get any reps. And then the year he was going to get the reps because the team was stacked, Peachy, he got injured. And now he's trying to, coming off this injury, right? He's trying to get back into a rhythm.
Yeah.
So that's the story of Trey Lance, y'all. That's who he is. That's what he is. Can he get better? I believe so. I know he can.
Yeah.
The issue is he needs to show that he can do one thing, Peachy. Let that motherfucker rip. That's it.
Right. You
Let it rip.
You are absolutely right about that. This is one thing that I would like to bring up. Regardless of what you think about Trey Lance or Brock Purdy, whichever one you want to start and all that stuff, we know Brock is QB1, but let me tell you something about your QB1. If Trey Lance was out there playing the way that Brock is playing now, he could possibly be off this team by next week. Your quarterback one, our quarterback one, Brock Purdy, needs to stop throwing damn INTs all over the place and pick sixes and all this stuff that is getting like pushed under the radar like this right here, because the Steelers are no joke. And they are watching what is going on, of course, right now, because there's videos out there and there's different things out there, and there, you know what I'm saying? So all I'm trying to tell you is I want the best quarterback to be out there starting. But because the other two, Trey Lance and Sam Darnold, are barely getting any reps at all, because QB1 is taking all the reps, but he's also making a ton of mistakes. So while everybody is bashing Trey, and it's a free country, you can bash whoever you want to and say whatever, y'all need to think about that.
I just don't know why we can't keep it consistent.
Right.
That's my
Keep it
only
across the
issue.
board.
Brock does. It sucks because Brock's been struggling. Okay, he's just coming back off of the elbow injury. Okay, well, Trey Lance struggled in the game, but he looked good in practice. Okay, well, he's also coming off of a broken ankle. He sat out of football longer than Brock sat out of football. So technically, Brock is closer to playing again because he's been cleared from the injury. Brock has been playing football longer than Trey Lance. So Trey Lance has to get back into the rhythm of playing football again.
Exactly.
Something that he just has not much experience at. But we're willing to throw him under the bus and not willing to criticize Brock Purdy when he makes mistakes. But we overanalyze the mistakes of Trey Lance.
Right.
That's what's
Exactly.
bothering me
Yes.
about the Trey Lance situation. It's not that we analyze it. We should. I say this all the time. You gotta when my last stint of teaching, when I was under the tutelage of my principal, Dr. Victor Black, and now current principal. She's no longer at that school, but Beth, who was just like my best friend at work. She was the one that just handpicked me out of anywhere. She's like, that's the guy I want. You got to get him in here. I was nervous, but she brought me in, right? When I was teaching, we were going under a training of a new method. The school that I was at was going to teach differently. It's called PBL. It stands for Project-Based Learning. When I tell you that God is the greatest of all time, This is the way that I love to learn. I like to get my hands on. I like to mess up. I like to go back and fix my mistakes and then try again. That's how we assessed our children. It wasn't you take this test, you do this, you do that. No, it was like, man, like the thing not working. Mr. Brown, my video, it don't upload the format. All right, well, maybe you're going to have to try to rebounce it down, render it again, do something again. You got to figure it out.
Yeah.
It's not my job to tell you how to do it. I've given you the tools.
Yep.
It's time for you. It's called project-based learning. And so as a teacher, I had to, with all different types of learners. That's the first thing I had to learn how to respect. Everyone doesn't learn the same way.
Right.
Once I got that, it made teaching that much easier for me because I didn't hold people of the same standard. Yeah, I had my goals. I had all of that stuff in the classroom, and I felt like each student could do. But when I saw someone struggling with something, I was like, well, maybe I got to switch it up a little bit. Maybe I got to change my method. Maybe my way isn't the highway because they're not grasping it that way. That's why I always challenge Kyle. I'm not telling him to change his damn system. I'm telling him to take the system that he has and possibly give a different look or version of it for those that can't grasp it on the level that he wants them to grasp it at. So if Trey Lance is struggling with getting quick reads out, Peachy, then maybe you get him on naked bootlegs quicker, where it's just one read, it's him, it's a guy in front of his face, and he throws it over the top. If he pump fakes, the guy jumps, he can run right by the guy. There's so many things he can do, and that right there, that gets him going. Now
that is why with that one play that was close to the red zone, when he was out there just being Trey, and he had that one pass, that dart that he had to I can't remember who it was, but it wasn't in the end zone. It was like before that. I forgot who the pass was to.
The pass was for Chris Conley. I'm not going to call him Mike Conley anymore. I called him Mike Conley all last night. But the pass was for Chris Conley.
Yes.
And when we watched the film, Chris Conley was wide open. Trey Lance had a little bit of hesitation in his hitch because he was trying to plant his feet to make the perfect throw, but he gunned it in there, and the defender made a play. The speed of the defender made the play. That's what happened. People keep saying it was going to be a pick. It was too quick to be a pick. The junk just hit him in his arms. Not like he even got his hand on it. He literally got his hand in to break up the pass. Therefore, it deflected off of his hand into the hands of Ross Dwelly. That's what happened.
Right. But that one too, but I was talking about the one before that. The one where he flicked it and hit I forgot who it was. He was on the right. He is getting it down to get the first down. I can't remember who the player was now, but anyway, whenever he's freelancing, and he's doing his stuff, whenever he's in motion, when there's rhythm and everything is just rhythmic, it was then when he was, being like that. That is when he's at his best. The next thing that I wanted to say is, honestly, if you ask me, I don't think that any of our quarterbacks are ready for this season. None of them.
That's interesting.
None of them.
I need to get a new chair. My butt hurts. That's interesting.
I just don't, honestly, I think that any of them are ready for week 1. Not yet.
JT O'Sullivan, who does his breakdowns, everybody is saying that Trey Lance is not NFL quality. That's what they're saying. And what's funny to me, I'm not trying to take stabs at the people.
I know where you go.
I'm not gonna go there. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. I don't remember him getting the ball out his hand quick either. But it's so much easier looking in, right? Like looking down.
It is.
It's so much easier to see what everybody is doing wrong when you're not in it. You know what I mean? And so, like, it's tough. It may be true, but to say that he wasn't playing NFL quality football, that's tough too. I mean, he's out there, and you just gotta take the good, you gotta take the bad. Those are the facts of life.
Right.
Those are the facts of life.
Yep.
And JT O'Sullivan being a former quarterback of, I'm not going to say the team, I just don't remember anything about him other than his name is JT O'Sullivan.
Facts.
Now, I will say Trey Lance struggled. I just can't wait till he plays again so we can see if he's progressing. That's the only
Right.
guys, Kyle Shanahan, I believe, did what he did on purpose. I think he's being tested. I told you I like project-based learning. Well, the project for Trey Lance was to make that hit the first read quickly, get the ball out the hand quickly. But Trey is still learning it. Trey hasn't gone through the motion of that is what I'm supposed to do here in this offense. Because when I played football, it was allowing me to develop and get the play down the field to the wide open guy because I can hit the throw. But that's not what Kyle Shanahan is asking. Okay. And I think for Trey Lance, he has to grasp that concept. That's why I said, if Trey Lance just lets it rip, whatever happens, happens. I don't care if it's an interception. I don't care if it goes into the ground. I don't care if it's inaccurate. I don't care if it's high.
Right.
Just let the ball rip. So we can finally say that Trey is understanding the offense by Kyle Shanahan.
Mm-hmm. So here is an actual real quarterback. Like a Hall of Famer quarterback.
I didn't take it there. You took it there. I didn't say that, JT. We trying to get him on the show. It's not what I said. But I do appreciate his film breakdowns. He's pretty good at it.
Yes. And according to Your Annoyances, Kurt Warner said that Lance don't look as bad as people say. I really feel like that there are some people out there that regardless of whether you think that Trey Lance has a long way to go or whatever he is and all this stuff like this, Trey Lance was drafted into the National Football League. He's an NFL quarterback.
By one of the greatest organizations in the National Football League, by a team that was ready to win the Super Bowl then and now. So let that sink in.
He is an NFL quarterback. And I just want you guys to understand something, that if the 49ers didn't take him, somebody else was about to. So because they know that he is an NFL quarterback. Like I said, I honestly believe it. I don't believe any of them are ready to face week one yet. And I honestly don't believe that Kyle Shanahan believes that any of them are ready to face week one.
Interesting.
I listen to every Kyle Shanahan presser. And just because you have a QB1 does not mean that your QB1 is ready for week one.
Interesting.
Yet. When he's out here throwing pick sixes, throwing interceptions, I know people are like, oh, well, he's just doing these challenging things that he won't do in the games. Not all of them. I'm telling you now that around the league, and I'm an NFL person, so I look all around the league. I haven't seen nobody but like Baker Mayfield and Jimmy Garoppolo throw a bunch of INTs besides our quarterback one. It's not been that bad for anyone else. Nobody else has stood out that bad, or pick sixes for that matter.
So I'm just curious, and I'm going to ask you this, and I want you to answer it truthfully.
Sure.
Is what bothers you so much about the pick sixes in the practice, or the interceptions in practice? Do you feel if he's throwing them in practice, the way he practices, the way he may play, is that what's bothering you? Or, like, I'm just curious to know.
It is not as much of the INTs that bother me. Pick sixes are game changing.
Interceptions is fucking game changing at the end of the day.
But pick sixes are definitely game changing. Like, those automatically put the opponent's score on the board. And those are what are aggravating me. And then also the fact that everything that he's out there doing is not even being discussed. Like all the almost INTs that nobody had any problems, like saying exactly everything word for word that Trey Lance did with his almost INTs. Apparently, Brock has had a lot of almost that should have been picked off. And I get what Kyle's saying, he would rather him, just let it rip, go out there and, whatever and see what happens. But the only thing is that once the season starts, we got to make sure that our QB1 is ready.
Facts.
We know that our QB1 is Brock Purdy.
Facts.
Which means that you would expect him to practice by practice to get better.
Better.
To have less INTs. To have, no pick sixes. That kind of stuff. I mean, I'm just letting you know that I'm not guaranteeing that he's going to be doing that. But it is something that is drawing some attention. And it's not just drawing attention from basic content creators. It's actually drawing attention for some media members. Are like, hold on. Wait a minute. There was even one media member that said that, the saying, if you have 3 or 4 quarterbacks, then you have none.
One. Have none, yeah.
And that's gonna
that shit's old as fuck, but I get it.
It is, but
it's a different league. That's why. Like it's a much different league. But hey, there could still be some validity to that because cliche stuff is still around. People still believe in the cliches. Talking about the disrespect to Trey Lance, I have a question. Where are his current teammates on this?
Right.
No one has said anything. Maybe they're not allowed to. We don't know.
Right.
Okay. So I'm gonna put that stipulation out there. But I'm curious to know. I just don't feel like that type of like where's anyone that's defending him, like, because this is at the end of the day, Trey Lance is still your quarterback. The 49ers have 4 quarterbacks. Each one of them are quarterbacks on this roster that you must defend until they're no longer on the roster.
That's right.
So this isn't even about Raheem Mostert, or at least he's not even on this team. Where are the people that's on this team that should have their quarterbacks back?
That's right. You're absolutely right. So that's why I'm thinking that maybe something will come out. Maybe they decided, let's just not address this, because we're trying to focus on this and that and whatever.
Okay.
It's possible. But props to Raheem Mostert, who was just like, enough's enough. Like these people think that these football players don't see these. They all see. They all know. They all know what is going on here. And they're, and it may not be the last ex-49er, but before the night's over, there could be somebody else that, comes out and has something to say. It was just really, at the end of the day, it was really disrespectful. Like,
I'm sorry, Peachy. I'm bothered. Yeah. I got to keep it a buck. I mean, I got Christian McCaffrey defending running backs that aren't even on his team because they're not getting paid.
True.
But you can't defend your quarterback because of something from some old ass insignificant person.
Right.
You can't talk about my quarterback.
Yeah.
Like that's where I am. You can't talk about my quarterback. That's my quarterback.
I agree.
Because at the end of the day, if anything was to happen to Brock and Trey's number is called, then you're gonna be on his nutsack. So why can't you defend him now? Show him you got. I don't know, man. I'm a little bothered by that unless they're addressed not to say anything.
Right.
And that's the stipulation that we don't know.
Yeah.
But they get to say stuff about other stuff. So that's my issue.
Right. But my whole thing is like I said, and I actually put this on social media a couple of days ago. I support the red and gold. Whatever is in the red and gold. I criticized Brock. I criticized Trey. I've criticized Sam. Haven't seen that much from Brandon Allen. So, but those 3, because those are your main 3 right there. Those are going to be on the roster. Those 3 are going to be there. And I criticize every single one of them the same. I don't take personal shots towards anyone at all because I bleed red and gold and I have for over 40 years. So I'm just trying to say that we have got to start like realizing that it is about the red and gold. It's not, the red and gold, and then there's this stank trash ass quarterback that we have that we want to get rid of so bad that we can't stand him. We don't even want to look at him. We don't even want him out there playing on the field. Like, you can't do that, because if Brock Purdy goes down and Trey is up and he goes out there and he balls out and does what he's supposed to do, every one of y'all are going to be like, I knew that he was going to do that. I knew, and all this stuff. And I'm just letting you know right now that we just need to all support the red and gold. And that includes the players, like all of them. It's really lonely right now that Mostert is the only player that's came out, and he's not even on this team anymore. So we'll see who else comes out and says something about it. I have a feeling that someone is going to come out and say something about it. But at the end of the day, Mike Lombardi was disrespectful and out of line, out of pocket, like they like to say, out of pocket.
And maybe they haven't heard it, so we'll play it again. And then they could give their take on it.
I think Perk wanted to hear it actually. So.
All right, and maybe Mose too. King Mufasa says, if you suck, you get called out. Facts.
Right.
We 100% agree with you, bro.
Not a problem.
I have zero problems you constructively criticizing, or not even constructively criticize, just criticize. I have zero problems with that.
Right.
That's not the issue. The issue is what they say when you getting called out. And I think with Michael Lombardi here, I tell you what, let me shut up and you just listen to it, and then you tell me how you feel.
As you go down this road with Lance, it just becomes harder and harder and harder. And you could show all the clips of him moving and all that stuff. At the end of the day, when his mama lifted him from the crib, he just didn't have that quarterback instinct. He's not
right there. Like when his mama lifted him from the crib, he just didn't have that quarterback instinct. If he would have just left his mama part out of what he was saying, he could have said when he was born, he probably wasn't born with the quarterback instinct. No one would say shit.
Right.
Everybody would be like, okay, cool. It's the fact that
even though you're not born with a quarterback instinct, by the way, but
right, and that's why he had to put the mama in there. It's what it is. It's disrespectful. End of discussion. If I sat here and talked about your mama when you was born,
exactly,
you gonna feel some type of way, right? Right, my guy? You might not see anything wrong, and that's your prerogative. I'm cool with that. That's cool. But again, let me just come out and say something about you and your mama when you were born, or even right now. You gonna feel some type of, you might not even feel it disrespectful. You ready to fight.
Yeah.
So like criticizing him is cool.
Yeah.
You can talk trash about the player. This is not even about him sucking, bro. He did. We said that.
Right, Perk. Yep, he does.
he did suck, Collie. This is not even it. Speaking of that, Collie has a question for you, so I'm gonna get to it.
Sure.
This is not even about him sucking. This is about him sucking, and you trying to say his mama didn't grant him a blessing to play quarterback
exactly
at birth. What does his mama have to do with him sucking? That's my question. That's all I'm asking.
Yes, I absolutely did have the same energy for Trey's almost INTs, so much that when I report to Breezie everything that happened during the day that I found on social media among the media and the reporters who take all the great notes, it's always in there about his almost INTs. So I do have the same energy. I have the same energy for all the three quarterbacks. So don't even try that. Here's one thing that I don't have energy for. I do not have energy for these kind of comments. Well, you know, In and Out's hiring, you know, so why don't he just serve my food like he needs to do? Serve my food like he needs to do?
Yeah. See, like you had, I was gonna push back when you said In and Out was hiring, because when quarterbacks aren't good, they could go pump my gas. Like,
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? But when you added the rest of that,
serve my food.
nah,
Excuse
that
me?
like
I don't
that's.
have energy for that.
I
do
don't
not
think
have energy for that.
I don't think people are understanding the inflection of what he said and how he said it in the context of where he was trying to use it. I'm not trying to like overanalyze this or overthink this. I just feel like when my mama lifted me from the crib, she told me I was gonna be a motherfucking star. Like, I don't even know if she said that, but I know that's what she told me, because that's what I feel. But to sit there and say you know his mama picked him up from the crib and said he didn't have quarterback instincts or whatever like that, dude. He doesn't have the instincts, and that's fine, but you ain't got to correlate it or relate it or even draw any type of line to his lineage. Has nothing to do with anything. Like, it doesn't. It doesn't. And this is not even about him playing bad.
Yeah. We know that
the team was bad. Matter of fact, Trey Lance
team was bad,
but he also
the
drove the
Las
team
Vegas
into
Raiders.
scoring position, though, Peachy. So
Yeah, I know
he
that, but
sucked,
I'm saying,
and
like,
we scored. It's crazy.
So that's what you guys are not understanding. Nobody is saying like that he's, you know, just like excused for all this that he does. I report everything that I see, every solitary bit that I see. As a matter of fact, I pay more attention to what Trey does, because, and me and Breezie have talks about this every day. We're like, dude's got to get better. Like, he's got to improve, because we all know, let's just keep it real, Trey Lance would have to do 500% more, which is what I put on Twitter this morning, than anyone else would have to do in order to even remotely, you know, be in a position to where people wouldn't criticize him that much. So I definitely keep an eye on what he does. But I also keep an eye on what our QB1 does, because we're not going to see Trey Lance week 1. We're going to see Brock Purdy. So I just want everybody to keep the same energy across the board.
Goes according to plan.
All of it. And that's it. And I'm rooting for Brock to get better as time goes along, because I know he's going to be the quarterback that's going to be against this Steelers defense. And these mugs are nothing to play with at all.
This is not. I'm not trying to make this a racial thing. I don't think I have to. I think after listening to him and how and what he said, I think maybe you can make your own opinion from it, and that's unfortunate that we still think about this. I will say this, Papa Phil. I know you're not a member of the Breezie's bunch, but I have to put this up here. I thought I was the only person that felt this way. I'm like this. I'm like this leaving my state. Like, when I go to a different state, it ain't no place like home. Like, no place. You know what I'm saying? And so at the end of the day, like, this is something that I've been thinking about. Like, you really don't know how good we have it until you go elsewhere. I think that's kind of what I like to say. You go to a different country, the internet don't work as fast. The water's not as crisp. Like, it just be different things. You be like, dang, we take a lot of stuff for granted here.
We do.
Like, you know what I mean?
We take a whole lot for granted.
So
here.
just take a second to appreciate what you have. Like, you know what I'm saying? Chrissy says, good gosh, how much longer is this gonna go on? So Chrissy, it's the narratives. It's the national media putting their 2 cents in. This, like, again, I'm not even jumping on Marcus Spears, Dan Orlovsky, LaShawn McCoy.
No, I didn't even.
You might not. You might not.
Going. I don't care.
Yeah, you might not. You might not like what the hell they said, but it's their take. If you go back and listen to Michael Lombardi and he just would have took that one phrase out, it would be his take. It would be fine. To me, in my opinion, it would be fine. I could be overreacting. That's fine. It's what I do. Do it every Sunday after every game too. But I just feel like that was disrespectful and uncalled for. And so I feel like he owes him an apology. And if you're gonna give takes and you are of some type of a status, you might want to have your stuff proofread and edited before you release it. But then again, maybe he's trying to get views and clicks and likes because that's what the world is. Let's get to the super chat portion of this show.
Yes.
I'm sorry if people thought it was Jerry Springer or whatnot.
Oh, well.
We ain't fighting up here. This ain't your mama, baby daddy, or whatever. Like, no. Right. You are not the father. That's not what we're doing. But Peachy, let's get to the super chat segments, the ones we didn't read, and we'll jump up out of here, man. It's a great segment, great platform for everybody to come and voice their opinion. I wanted to know how they felt.
Yep.
I feel like the majority of us are kind of like on the same page. At the end of the day, though, I'll save that for final thoughts. Let's get to the super chats.
Okay. Before we do that, Joker, I like this, which is what we were discussing.
Joker, I can't. That's not. I can't even describe what I'm trying to say right now because I'm a little confused about that.
So we cannot, Breezy. So we cannot forget the poll question because it's about to drive JB completely
I'm gonna end it right now. We do a poll question on every show, and I forget. That's what it is. It's because of y'all in the chat, though. Y'all start talking about people mamas, and then I'll be like, wait a minute. The mama jokes. Remember that show, Yo Mama, this? But see, again, it's set up. That's the preface. You know that it's coming. Like, you know what I mean? Go ahead, PG. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. I was just going to talk because JV's been doing this the whole show.
We're waiting on the results.
He wants to know the percentage.
So let's do the poll. Let's do the poll percentage real quick. All right. So the poll question was: did Michael Lombardi cross the line in his take on Trey Lance? 210 votes. 84% of you guys said yes. 84%. Hey, look. Wait a minute. Jerry Springer had the "you are not the father" stuff too. I know Maury Povich did it, but so did Jerry and Richard Bay. Well, when Richard Bay first started, though, it was different. It was very sexy. I'll leave it at that. He had some big boot. Never mind. Go ahead, PG. Let's get to the super chats. I remember them all.
So here he goes. JV have been waiting to hear it. I love JV so much, man.
Oh, man.
Yes, Ricky Lake was awesome, though, man.
Yeah, she was all right. Like,
for a while, and then it started, and then it got out of control. But
she was all right. She was all right.
It was all right, though. Ricky Lake was okay.
Landlord 84, Richard Bay was the originator, yo. I'm telling you, but he started off with, like, little people, big breasted women. It was different. You know why? Because Richard Bay, to me, was the talk show version of the radio show of Howard Stern. That's what it was.
Yeah.
I felt like he was the talk show version, and whatever you heard Howard Stern talk about, he actually brought it on television. That's how I got it. But I think Jerry was the best. Yes. All right, go ahead, Peachy. Super chats, come on.
Okay, got you. Let's go. Let's get to them. We got, let's see. We already got that one. Hold on. Here. Okay.
All right, so I think we starting at, there we go.
Master J, thank you for the super chat. None of the white quarterbacks drafted with Trey have been successful. Where's the criticism of them? ... Zach?
Yeah, like, and you know what? Let's keep it football, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where's the criticism of Zach? I feel like out of all the quarterbacks, Trevor Lawrence is the only one, right? And I don't, PG, I'm sorry, but Justin Fields isn't good yet. Like I have his stats right here. And you can't tell me, other than he played that many more snaps, like his percentage is like 50%. Like he had a 60.4 completion percentage last year. And if you put it together, like it's not that great. Like for his 2-3 seasons in the league, going into his third year. So like he has the potential to be good, but he ain't that. That's why I keep getting mad when people keep throwing the Justin Fields equation out there. And I'm like, yo, he sucks he's not great yet. He may be, because he's been in the system for a couple of years and now he knows how things work. What he's really good at is taking off with the damn football if something breaks down in the pocket. His awareness is on level 98 or whatever. That's what he's good at. So, like, I get upset when they keep throwing that, oh, we should have drafted him. We should have. No, we shouldn't have. Kyle would have made him make the first read. That ain't what he did in Ohio State.
That's right. He did not. He absolutely did not.
So let's just cap that. But back to the question, I don't know where the criticism is. It's just Trey Lance was traded for, and they running with that. And it could be something different, but that's kind of like what it is. That's kind of like what I feel the national media is doing. You traded all these picks, and he's a bust. That's their story,
right?
Even though he hasn't played,
right. And that next one, we have some Jackson Ox. Peachy's his practice when it comes to Brock. It always
practice.
is. Yeah. It always is. It always is. That's just the way it is. So, but I get it. Then this one right here, Big Des, thank you for super chat. Some of those old heads, their booties are still sore because of the wrong takes on the draft a few years ago. Oh yeah, for Mac Jones. They're targeting not only Trey but SF fans.
They are. You know why? Do you know why, Big Des? Because we clap back and we give them the attention. Look at the show today. Like that's what we do. We give them attention. Michael Lombardi is probably sitting back laughing. I'm calling him a clown, and I'm probably the clown for doing the show about not his take. So somebody said that in the chat. This is not about his take. It's about what he said in his takes. Big difference. It was one portion of that take I thought was disrespectful. He could have edited that part out and left the rest of the take, and then it would be another take on how Trey Lance played poorly and might not be ready for the NFL. That's fine. That's fine.
But it's just that take right there. Just to let you know, my son, who is an Eagles fan, it is on all the Eagle, sites and all this other stuff that we have that is going on. They're actually also upset and feel like that Lombardi was out of pocket because of what he said. This is just another one who, really, don't even really like the Niner fan base at all. And is agreeing with the fact that they took it too far. So I just thought that I would say that.
I mean, other people are looking in. We had the Minnesota Vikings fan come on Monday.
Yes.
And he said, "Give us Trey Lance." See, people want him. Like other fan bases actually want him because they probably will utilize him differently.
Right.
I feel like Trey Lance can do what Kirk Cousins does. You send your guy out there on the island, you see man-to-man coverage, you throw it up, you get the ball out there, you let him make a play. Kirk Cousins is not great at processing either. I don't even know why Kyle Shanahan wants that, but like that, I feel like Trey Lance can do that. Anyway.
Yep, definitely. Bam Bam, thanks for the super chat. I encourage you to go and listen to James Jones talk about Brock Purdy, joint practices, and all the interceptions he's been throwing on the show speak. Going to be some hurt feelings in Purdy fanland.
I like Bam Bam. I encourage everybody too, PG, to go and watch that. And if you go and you look at a lot of Brock Purdy throws, there are throws set up that are easy for him to hit. Yeah. So when you sat there and said, some people feel like he might not be as healthy as we think, I'm wondering if that's why there's a lot of dink and dunks, a lot of short throws, things like that, which he's great at.
Yeah.
But where the intermediate throws, the throws in the middle of the field, that's where he's struggling, Peachy. Yeah. That's where he's struggling.
Yep.
and it
true.
could be because of the injury. It could be not an excuse, but it could be he's rushed back. I was the first person that said that Brock needs to sit out for the
Yes.
year and
You
fully,
did.
fully heal. But because his job was it's whatever. Or did the 49ers rush him back?
Yeah, that's it's kind of interesting there. Black Orchid, thank you for a super chat. I feel they knew what they were getting and had no scheme to focus on developing him. Organization issues get off Trey.
I feel like the organization has all they have the power to make all of this other stuff go away. They just they have the money and the power. They have it, right?
Right.
I think they're allowing the national media to do what they're doing because it's bringing them attention, but it's not negative. It's just some type of attention. And maybe here comes the optimism, Breezy. Here comes the half full guy. Maybe Kyle's just playing a game. And whoever goes out there is just going to light it up. Maybe. It's a possibility. I wouldn't be surprised.
Maybe. And then our last one we have is from Chrissy Marie. Thank you. Just wanted to show y'all some love. My number one show right here, Breezy's
Love you,
Bunch for
Christy.
Life.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chrissy. We appreciate that very much. Appreciate all of you guys. Appreciate all of you for real. Trying to say, let's see.
We're good.
Yeah.
Let's go some final thoughts, Peachy, and let's get up out of here. Listen, just so that you guys know, day 15 was today at practice, just to recap. And, again, Trey Lance, I think went, what was it, 4 for 6 or 6 for 7? It was something like that. I think it was 4 for 6. I think he did come out as the starting second. He came out starting in the second string, if I'm not mistaken, and Sam Darnold capped it off. There was no Brandon Allen. Congratulations to Brandon Allen. I'm not sure what his wife had, but he is away on paternity leave. I said it right. Like, I'm hoping I got it right. All right. So he's on his, I didn't know men can get paternity leave. If I'd have known that, I would have missed work for 6 years. But yes, congratulations to him. And so it was the 3 quarterbacks, which is interesting because I'm curious to know if Brock isn't going to play this week against the Broncos, Peachy. It's a half of Trey and a half of Sam. This is going to be great evaluation time.
Oh, yes, it is.
Ooh-wee. And
Yes,
that's the battle, ladies and gentlemen. The battle is who's going to be quarterback 2. And no one is going to be cheering for Trey Lance in the national media. That was not the guy that they picked Kyle Shanahan to draft.
Right.
Yeah, that's why there's so much pushback. But my message for Trey, if he's watching and he's not asleep, because I'm sure he was asleep last night, because that's why I said that. We was on there forever. If he's watching, then Trey, all you got to do, bro, is just let it rip. That's it. Just let it rip, man. Like, that's all Kyle wants to see you do. Let the ball rip. Whatever happens after that, Peachy, you live with it. But if he's making that read, if he's taking his 3-step drop and hitting his first initial target, like don't make it look predetermined. But if he's hitting that first read, and he's getting it there, and the receiver don't catch it, or the receiver doesn't turn around, or whatever happens, cool. Let it rip. Yeah. A, you avoid the sack. B, you might get an interception. But I think if he does that, I think that's his test. I think Kyle wants to see if he can just let it rip.
Agree.
That's it.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's positive or negative. Kyle just wants to see if he's making that first read.
So here's something that is positive that I can say. Apparently, Kyle is just as concerned about the O-line depth as we are, as we brought in 3 tackles today.
They worked out 3
out
tackles, ladies and
So
gentlemen.
apparently he is well aware that we need to find some kind of better O-line depth than we have out there.
You preach
So that is something that we should all be able to agree on.
Well, everybody said that we need to address the offensive line.
Yes,
So we
right.
brought in offensive tackle Jesse Davis, offensive tackle Rashad Hill, and offensive tackle Tal Neski. All right. Don't know who they are, but they are, one of them will get signed.
Yes. So
Wait, if one of them
I'll
gets
address-
signed, who's going to get released? Interesting. Listen, tomorrow will be the John and Wayne show on this channel. So tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time will be the John. Thank you, Pocket the Cheesecake. Appreciate that. And the spellings, oh so right. You just
that's fantastic.
spelling bee.
Just
that's what
right
I'm
off
talking
of
about.
right off the cuff. We have one more super chat.
Let's
we
get
don't want to
to it.
forget any super chats here. Bam Bam, thank you. Shady McCoy bashes Lamar, bashes Fields, bashed Bieniemy in the middle of the head coaching job interviews. And notice they're all very, very harsh criticism. Shady's the new step and fetch it on camera.
He is what they're asking him to be, like
That's right.
that guy. And I'm not mad. That's why I said I'm not mad at those comments. You can bash, but there's a line that you just don't cross. I just feel like there's a line that you don't cross. You don't attack a person, even if it's not a direct personal attack. You don't interject anything that somebody may interpret as being personal.
Right.
That's how I see it. That's how I see it. Guys, great show. Peachy, you're awesome. Thank you for jumping on the show. I appreciate you for opening up some time. Everybody out there, the Breezy's Bunch crew, thank you. If you're not a member of the crew, listen, look, it's $2. Perks. Perk dog. Like, listen, hit the like button. All right. If you didn't already hit it, thank y'all for participating in the poll. All right.
Yes.
Also, if you're new and this is the first time you're watching the show, hit that subscribe button. Until the next time, y'all got to stay up, faithful. Listen, this is why we are the faithful, because we find ways to persevere. We find ways to hold on. No matter what they do, no matter what they say, we find ways to hold on. But my only charge to you is defend your faith. Love y'all. Keep it nitty gritty. We out, y'all. Peace.
I be sipping gold bar, whiskey on the rocks, and a 24 karat gold on a watch. My 7-1 Chevy be tipping non-stop, sounding like Trent Williams on the block. So you know we can't stop, we be banging through your speakers. Wayne Breezie on the field or in the bleachers. You can tune into my show and I'm a teacher. Wayne Breezie, the 4-9 preacher.